Hello, this is Martha from the Academic Support Center at Raritan Valley Community College, back again with some Pre-Calculus 1 final review problems. Now these are the last two problems on the calculator portion of the test. In your test, you're going to have a portion where you can use a calculator and where you can't. So this is where you still can. So let's start off with number 6. And oftentimes with word problems, I like to give myself a little reference box because it's easy to lose track of information. So let's read through. So determine the principal interest. So I'm looking for P. That's what I want. So the principal interest that must be invested at a rate of 7.5%. So I know that my rate is 7.5%, but I need that in decimals. So I'm going to move the decimal place over. So I know that R equals 0.075. Okay, so determine the principal amount that must be invested at a rate of 7.5% interest compounded quarterly. That's huge. That tells me which formula I need to use. So the formula for that is the amount equals the principal times 1 plus rate divided by number of times compounded. All of that raised to the number of times compounded and then times the year. All right, so I know I'm looking for the principal, I know the rate, I know the formula, so we're doing pretty well. So that the balance in 20 years will be $35,000. So I know that my ending amount, so that in 20 years it will be 35,000. All right, so that's my A. And then my T is 20. So now, but I can plug this in, but sometimes I like to switch the formulas around before I get started. So because I know I need to solve for P, I'm going to change the equation, well, not change it, but make it so that it's P equals. So I've got two things, P times this 1 plus R over N, all raised to the NT. So if I take and divide each side by 1 plus R N to the N times T, if I do that to both sides, I'm still keeping the equation balanced, and that's still within the rules. But now I've already set it up so that I've got that P, or my principal, equals the amount divided by 1 plus R over N to the NT. Now you don't have to do it this way. This is just a little bit more straightforward for me, and so that's why I like to do it. All right, so let's put in what we know. We know that the amount, the final amount, is going to be a nice $35,000. Wouldn't that be great? I know that it's 1 plus, okay, 1 plus R is 0.075 divided by N compounded quarterly. I didn't put that in. Quarterly means 4. So N is 4. All of that raised to the 4 times 20. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through what I do with my calculator first. So I take and I do the innermost and then I start working out. So I take 0.075, divide it by 4, and then I add 1. Then I raise that to 4 times 20 or 80. So I'm just going to work over this way a little bit. 35,000 carries over. And this turns out to be 1.01875 raised to the 80th. And if you're using a calculator and you don't know how to raise it to the power, it's called a hat, or raised to the caret or partiette. So I take that and I raise it to the 80th power. And that gives me 4.419, about that. So I'm going to take 35,000 and I enter 35,000 into my calculator. And then I hit the second and answer. And on my calculator, the button looks like that. And because I do that, then I don't have to re-enter that information in. I don't have to type in this 4.1 and all those digits. So when I put that in, I get that my final answer is that the principal that needs to be invested at that rate is $7,918.78. So with this, we looked at the problem, we pulled out the important information, asked ourselves which formula we needed to use, and went from there. And that's how we got our answer. Now let's do number 7. So 7,500 is invested into an account. So I know that my principal is, let's make our little box over here. My principal is 7,500. So it's invested into an account where interest is compounded continuously. Okay, this tells me I need the PERT formula. Amount equals principal times e to the RT. All right, so 7,500 is invested into an account where it's compounded continuously at what interest rate? So I'm looking for rate. That's what I want to know. So at what interest rate will the initial investment double? So I need that my amount is double 7,500. Well, 2 times 7,000 is 14,000, and 2 times 500 is 1,000. So all total, it's going to be 15,000 is doubling of 7,500. And I know that it's going to double. The time is 25 years. T equals 25. And round to the nearest decimal of a percent. All right, so let's look this up. Now we've got that my amount is 15,000, 15,000, that's my final outcome, times my initial, which is 7,500. E, my R, I don't know, my T is 25. Well, let's get E by itself, so we can take and divide each side by 7,500. Just fixing that, because that would have minutes. And this 15,000 divided by 7,500 is 2, equals E to the R times 25. That's 25 years. Now at this point, this is when I can bring in, if I take the natural log of each side. That makes my life a little easier. I've got natural log of 2 equals, those undo each other, R times 25. Now this makes it pretty easy to solve for R. If I take and divide each side by 25, that should give me R. So in my calculator, I hit ln and 2. That gives me an answer. I divide by 25, and that gets me a decimal point of 0.027725 Okay, and that equals R. Now remember that this is the decimal. To put it into a percent, I need to move that decimal place 2 places to the right. And 2.77, because it asks for 2 decimal places, equals R. And that's how I found it out. So going through the word problems, identifying what you know, and plugging it in, that's how we solved it. Hope this helps. Have fun.